So, you want to make food, but you're not a chef. Well, I'd get some lessons from Remy from Ratatouille. He seems like he knows what he's doing. Hey guys, I'm about TutsByKai. I'm Kai, and today we're back once again taking a look at how I made these cool pixel art foods in a Sprite. So basically what I wanted to talk about and touch on today is keeping a consistent style and theme throughout creating multiple different items for the same pixel art, game or whatever you're making, piece, and I want to talk about shapes because this is very, very important for today's topic. So you see, I'm just going to make a bunch of different things here. That was a piece of pumpkin pie, and that's going to be like a bowl of soup. Tomato soup, actually, to be exact. So if you take a look at the pumpkin pie shape, or you take a look at this bowl shape, it's literally basically just a circle, and then the pie is like a weird misshapen thing if you look at just the black outlines. And the biggest thing is the shape of pixel art, because like I said before many times in other videos and previous videos, you don't have a lot of space to work with because it's pixel art. Unless you're doing super high resolution pixel art, 128, 356, whatever, what have you. 256, sorry. Then you don't have much space to work with. So if you're working in 16 by 16, 32 by 32, even 8 by 8, massively small, then you don't have a lot to convey what you need to convey. So with something like a bowl, you need to be able to convey that it's a circle and that there's a hole in it. So you just got to keep in mind where you're putting pixels at. And for this cookie right here as well, you can see I kind of dropped it down and then created a darker color on the bottom to make it look like it has a little bit of thickness, which is just something super simple you can do to kind of try and create some shape. So keep in mind there's different types of shape. Like I said, there's the initial shape, like this bread I'm making right now. The black outline is the basic shape of it. But something like the cookie kind of takes shape because of the color that I'm using. And with this bread as well, that brighter edge kind of gives it a shape as well. So shape isn't only defined by the black outlines. Don't let that trip you up and make you think that you can only define shape with the black outlines. I want you to be able to define shape with any of the colors that you're using. So also the highlight line on the pumpkin pie, or the highlight line there on the bread, also kind of gives a bit of a shape. Kind of makes it look like there's an edge to it. So just try and keep that in mind when you're doing things. Now, talking about keeping a consistent style, the biggest thing I'm going to want to say is if you're shading things, try to shade them in a very similar way. So don't try and get too detailed with some of them and not detailed with others. Don't create a super sloppy line art style in one, and then create super symmetrical lines, super clean lines in other versions. Try to keep the amount of colors you use the same amount, because that's where a lot of things kind of go off the rails with style wise. Try and keep the color values and all those things super similar. All the luminosities, all the lightnesses, the brightnesses, saturations, the deep darks, the shadows, the highlights, the brights, the main colors, the base colors, trying to keep them all a similar type of feel. And most importantly, like I said, don't use too many colors. If you only use 2 or 3 colors in, some of the items or some of the foods, don't use 6 in another one. Try and use the same amount of colors in each of them. Try and have a base color, a darker color, a slightly darker color, and then a highlight. That's what I try to do. So I probably have about 4 colors in most of these pieces here. Now for something like this egg was a little too simple, so I was struggling with it to try and kind of get it to look the way that I wanted, but it came out the way that I really enjoyed it to be. Now this fish, I want to talk about this fish for a second. So because I couldn't actually decide how I wanted to shape this fish to make it look like there was like a fin or a torso or whatever, a head. Obviously it's a fish head, but the rest of it looked kind of off to me. So I just decided to go for a little fish bone coming out the back there. So this is something else you can, talk about for a second as well. Think about if something's not exactly coming out the way that you intended it to, always just put a spin on it. Put a little spin on it. I wanted that to be a full fish. I was set on it being like a whole fish, you know what I mean? But it didn't come out the way that I expected. It didn't come out the way that I wanted to. And I just couldn't seem to get it the way that I was seeing in my head for some reason. So I was like, you know what else would look really cool here is if there was a fish bone coming out the back of it. So that's what I decided to do. And I think it looks pretty sweet. It looks kind of like a bat or some kind of weapon now, honestly. I don't know what to say. And then I made a nice little cup of coffee. I just repurpose. This is also something I want to talk about real quick. Repurpose your art. So if you've made a bowl, take that bowl and make a mug off of it, so it looks like it has a consistent style, consistent shape. You don't have to remake the whole mug. Take the bowl, copy it down, duplicate it, and change it up a little bit so it has a similar cohesive feeling, and you don't have to redraw everything. I think that's a really, really simple, super simple way to have a nice workflow and have things kind of, go and stay on the rails. That's another big thing. Like for that meat, I could have duplicated the meat to make the fish, but I wasn't expecting me to use that bone there. I was expecting to make a whole new fish. So there you go. But this watermelon also didn't have a lot of space for this, and I wanted to get like a nice bright highlight there on the edge. I do believe I wound up getting rid of the bright highlight of the green around the edge there because it just didn't have enough space. But this is just something I love doing. I absolutely love making pixel art like this. I think we're going to see a lot more pixel art here on the channel. You guys seem to enjoy it. I absolutely love it. So yeah, this is a little bit of food that we made today. Hope you guys learned something about anything that I said here. Hope it helped you out a little bit. I want to be doing more item pixel arts like this in the very near future. So I hope you, ladies and gentlemen, enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next one. But until then, bye-bye.